Are you the protege or the peer? Let's talk about it. How are you perceived? Proteges are going to be the ones who get picked to grow. Someone is saying, that person, I want to help them. I want to build something, out of them. I want to guide this person. I want to be able to say, I did that. Okay. And so that's a big part of what it means to be a protege. And when someone's identified you as that their leadership style is one of legacy. They want to see an extension of themselves. There are other people who are just as talented as proteges and may actually be more talented than the proteges, but they don't get picked because they are viewed as a peer, not the protege. So this has been something that I have experienced because I've, questioned over time, looking at myself, looking at people around me, like, what are the differences? Like, what's really going on here? When I look back, I'm like, oh, it all makes sense, because some of the people that I have seen picked over others who were more talented and who were lovely, but just who had it going on, they weren't viewed as someone who was moldable. They weren't viewed as someone who needed that leader, and that leader could take a certain level of credit for their success. So I think about myself, like I'm solid in who I am. I have my core values. I'm grounded in who I am. I don't need you to mold me into something. I am already here and I'm experienced and skilled. I want support. So it doesn't mean that I don't want help. It's just a different type of help. I want someone to support me. I want someone to collaborate with me. Those are the people that I've responded best to in my career. Is people who, even managers who have not shied away or not been threatened by me or not held back, because they're like, we recognize who you are and what you have to offer, and it's great in alignment with who I am and what I have to offer. Like, let's work together to get you to where you want to be. That's the leadership that I respond well to. But there are people who really only want those who they can bring up. So let me get right into it, y'all. That was a long intro, but I had to give you some background there. Let me get into the differences between proteges and peers. You let me know how you are perceived or have been perceived. And if you are not the protege and will never be the protege, I'm going to tell you what to do. Proteges are chosen based on potential. So they don't have to show any proof of performance or delivering any results. They get picked based on the vibe and like what they can see, the leader can see in them. Like, there's something here. I can work with this. I can work with them. Okay, I can make something here. So that's how they get selected. They are safe bets. I have a video on safe bets. Feel free to check that out. So they are not a threat to that leader in any way, shape, or form. They're viewed as people who can be shaped, who can be taught, who can be guided. Like, when you hear about it, like, there's nothing wrong with that. But there is something wrong in my view, if these are the only people that you as a leader will ever like invest in or view as worthy of growing in the organization. Proteges are more likely to mirror leadership or like mimic them even. So I've reported to someone who was someone else's protege, and I knew both individuals because I was hired by the senior leader, and then they moved up, and then they brought up someone else to lead our team, and this person is their protege still to this day. And they didn't really have their own identity. They basically are a carbon copy of that leader, and that's how they were trained. They were molded. They use the same language. They do the same things. They lead in the same way. It's kind of creepy, but that's why they're there. So that's important for the leader. Someone who will kind of do things the way that I will do things. And if someone else isn't going to do things the way that I do them and isn't going to mimic me and isn't going to let me still always have my hands in what they're doing, then that's not the person who's going to get picked in my company. I've seen it. There's a sense of legacy there. That's the type of, what's on the mind of these leaders. Legacy. This person is an extension of me. There's also that element of control. Like I said, they want to be able to still be in control as this person moves and grows in their career, particularly in that company. You will hear things like, they remind me of me, they're coachable. So they'll get access to that. They'll get the mentoring, they'll get the coaching, they can make mistakes, Proteges can make mistakes. You've seen people at work and you're like, how come they keep messing up, or why do they keep doing these things, and yet they're still here and they're still growing? They're the protege, honey. Your manager might be the protege, to someone else. So they get to mess up. If you're not the protege, you can't mess up. So you better keep it together. But that's part of that role. Let's move on to the peers now, and the differences in the peers versus those proteges. Now, peers are going to come across as people who are already developed. As I mentioned before, when it comes to myself, like, I'm solid in who I am. Like, I don't need you to mold me at this point, and I haven't needed molding in quite some time. I don't think ever, because I've always been like my own person, still in need of help in certain areas, but I don't need you to make me something. So they view peers as people who are already their own person. They might view you as too independent, and there's not room for them to come in and control some aspect of your personality, or how you work, how you lead, things like that. They may see you as their equal in thought, equal in talent. Like, they might look at you like, well, shoot. And I've had people say that, Tanya, you could do this job, you could be where I am. But they never tried to help me get there. But they identified that I could do it, but they didn't want to bring me up. They would select someone else who they, possibly even told me, I can't give away too much information, but maybe even told me, this person is not ready or isn't there yet. But you would still pick them because you believed, whether they're right or not, believe that they can mold that person and guide them and be more in control, versus when it comes to a peer like me. Peers don't get as much help in the workplace because they appear to not need it. And this is not true, because everybody needs help at work, okay? We all need support, we all need help, we all need to learn things, but they will view you as not needing them, and that is a turnoff. And it can also be a problem. Like, you can really, as a peer, activate someone's insecurity. And I've done content on insecure managers, on insecure leaders. Those are some of the worst people to work under. They might praise you, okay? They will praise the peers, privately, publicly even praise you. But they're not going to do anything to help you to grow, because they don't view you as their future success story. Because they're like, this person can already be successful on their own or somewhere else. I'm not going to help them, because I don't want them overshadowing me, or I just want someone who can be my success story. It's just a leadership style. I don't personally care for it, or think, unfortunately, that it happens too often. I think it's unfair, but who said life was fair? Peers are not going to get the same opportunities that others get, particularly people who are more viewed as potential proteges. They're not going to get the same opportunities. Peers are going to be told to wait. There's always going to be an excuse as to why they don't invest in you and why they don't help bring you up. So it's very important for you to be aware of what is happening around you so that you can act accordingly. Be careful with people always telling you that you're a great mentor, you're a great coach for others, and letting you do that, be that person for other people in the organization, but they don't offer that to you. Why is the person who's the mentor here at work, the great coach here at work, the great support, why are they not getting the same thing from others who are higher up? It's a good thing to know this, right? Because for me, it's very freeing. A lot of stuff just frees me, and I know that I can still thrive, and I am thriving in my career despite not being someone's protege. And you can do the same, because you have to decide, like, do I want to become more like that? And that's okay if you do, but if you're like, I don't want to change who I am, I want to be who I am, I'm solid, I know who I'm grounded, I don't need to be molded, so can I still grow? Absolutely. There's room for everybody. And I think you can actually be more successful without that, because now you can just do you. Nobody is taking responsibility or taking credit for who you are or limiting you. You can be freely who you are. So let's talk more about, what you can do if you are the peer who doesn't want to change. Here are some things that I have done. So I have learned, I haven't really taken a lot of negative critique in my career from people that I've reported to or worked with, But there are things that they pretty much say across the board to folks, and that you may have heard some of these things. So, for example, I'm an introvert, right? And I have an introvert guide for those of you who are introverts and you want to be you and you want to thrive in your career without pretending to be something you're not. Get that workbook. I put a lot of my heart, soul into that. But if they're saying that your introversion is a liability, which sometimes they do kind of give off this vibe in the workplace and in this country in general, you need to flip that. Like, no, take whatever they say as a liability and you turn it into a positive. Like, I am introverted and I am, thoughtful. I'm observant. I'm a strategic thinker. Those are good things. How can you use that to be successful? If they're saying that you're arrogant, arrogance and confidence are different. It only looks like arrogance when people feel like you're the type of person who has no place to be proud of who you are or who knows your skill set and can stand on it. They say you're arrogant or overconfident. Nope, flip it. I'm confident because I know I can back up what I say with proof. I have the portfolio, I have the receipts. So you just have to learn to flip whatever they say is a liability and leverage that into something more where you can, make money, shine, do whatever it is that you want to do. Build a strong brand. This is very important. A lot of people refuse to do this. You typically don't start doing this until something negative happens to you at work. Once you get laid off and then you're like, oh, let me start being my own person and using my LinkedIn to promote my skill set. Yes, do that now when you know that you're viewed as a peer. They see something in you. They see you. They just don't want to pick you because they're like, this person could try to be on my level or above me. So they don't stop waiting for people to pick you. They're not going to. Go ahead, pick yourself and build your brand and get out there and produce and create and build. You don't need permission to do these things. I'm doing it all, honey. I'm writing, I'm speaking, I'm creating, I'm pouring into others. Nobody has any control over that. I mean, they try, perhaps the algorithm has a little bit of control, but there's more to it than that. Like, I'm owning my narrative and I'm putting my brand out there because I am my own person, independent of anybody else's company. Stop looking up the org chart for opportunities to grow and connect and collaborate. Collaborate across. I was just mentored for 9 months by someone at work who's doing work that I am interested in doing and learning and development. That person mentored me and has taught me so much. That's one of the strongest, most impactful forms of leadership and leadership experiences I've had in my entire career. And this person doesn't really make that much more than me. They're basically a peer of mine. And so, collaborate across and look at the wonderful experiences you have. Make sure you're in the right environments, okay? Environments where, people who are strong individual contributors, people who are talented, that is needed. There are companies who are looking for you, okay? They're like, look, where can you shine and doing what certain types of work where your skills, your expertise is a requirement. External facing work where you deal with the community, you deal with clients. They expect you to be great. They want you to be great. And that's where you might thrive. Some of you are too smart and too advanced for where you are. You actually have limited yourself. Or people have made you feel like you can't, but you need to branch out and you need to look for companies. Look, there are companies where your brain is very, very important. They're like, we need the experts working here. Okay, so you need to be in those types of environments. Maybe you will be great doing some sort of consulting, some sort of, maybe contract work will be, great for you. Pop in, do your work, leave an impact, boom, go on to the next. Okay, that might be really great for some of you. Obviously, becoming an entrepreneur, solopreneur can be great because you can't gatekeep my brilliance. Okay, I'm not saying that being a business owner is easy, but I'm simply saying that in the traditional environments at work, there are so many limits and it's about a game. I want to be in spaces where talent and skill always are what rises to the top because that's what we need out here. So maybe you have to create your own environment and create your own thing. It's important to protect your energy. This is very big for me. A lot of you are doing the most and you want to get picked. They're not picking you. You keep doing more. You're trying harder. You have to stop and you have to put boundaries in place. You need to do what they ask. If you want to do a little bit more, fine, but don't let them take advantage of you, because peers get used and proteges get pulled up. They will keep you running around doing all the things because they like that knowledge. They want to tap into it. Yes, train these new people on staff. Yes, mentor these people. Yes, create that project. They want you to do all of this, but you're not going to go any further up. And if you don't want to, that's fine. But if you want to, you need to know you got to pump the brakes and you have to stop. Okay. Lastly, I don't worry. Okay. You, by not being a protege, you can do so many things. You can do so much more. It doesn't mean that you would never seek support. There are people who want to support you and collaborate with you. There are people who respect you and want to uplift you. You don't need anybody to be picked. I need you all to pick yourself. I need you to be the brand yourself and stop worrying about it. Okay. But I need you to know where you stand. Proteges have to wait for someone to see them, approve them. So take advantage of that and let's get going. Like and subscribe to this video for more content from me. Let me know in the comments what your experience has been. Are you the protege? Are you the peer? Are you done being a protege and you're ready to go out on your own and prove yourself? Let me know in the comments.